See you later. Love it. Okay. I'm just gonna share my screen. Hopefully it lets me. Ray, can you give me permission?
Oh, yes. So sorry.
That's okay.
There you go.
Awesome. Okay, let me find the screen I want to share.
That's always the joys.
Right? I'm like, oh my gosh. Cool. So pretty much today's call is going to be super, try to like size this right. It's gonna be super sweet and quick. Sweet, aha, that's a pun. Da, da, da. Pretty much about like how to deal with food cravings and really like kind of like creative ideas to like how to swap out maybe one craving for something that's like satisfies the craving but is maybe a little bit healthier or a little more on track if you're following either UPF or 2B mindset. So that's what we're going to be working with today. And also just talking about sugar addiction a little bit, because the fact of the matter is that most people have a sugar addiction and we don't even realize it because all the foods that we eat day to day are so loaded with sugar that we don't even really think about it, because so many of our foods are convenient and quick. Even when you go to the grocery store, you buy something that you think is healthy and conveniently made and it's still loaded with sugar. And even things that aren't sweet, like you can get savory like microwavable dishes and stuff at the grocery store, and even though they're not sweet, they're loaded with sugar. So it's just something that we don't really realize a lot of the time until you actually start really looking into your food labels, and then you kind of realize, wow, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So with that, you guys like have probably experienced cravings in some way or like some shape or form. Maybe you've had a sweet craving, maybe you've had a salty craving, maybe you've had a craving for even just like, sometimes it's super specific, right? Sometimes you're like, oh man, I really want a piece of pepperoni pizza. And then other times you're like, I just want something cold and sweet. And that could be a ton of things. So pretty much going a little bit into how to take that on. Okay, so my first tip would be to, if you're experiencing a craving, figure out what it is that you're craving, because it's often not the first thing that we think of. So I am notorious for craving sweet things and also craving like carb heavy things. Like pizza is the example I go to because I love pizza and I could probably eat it more than I should, but it's carb heavy. So oftentimes like I will crave something that is super, super, super like cold and refreshing and sweet. And what I think of when I have that craving, I'm thinking like ice cream, or sometimes like milkshakes or slushies, or sometimes even just like fruit. Like sometimes I'll be making, like I'll cut myself some strawberries and I'm like, man, I really want like a ton of these. And I can like cut like a massive bowl of strawberries, but then I'm like, wait a minute, do I want the strawberry? Like, is it food that I'm craving, or am I craving something just like cold and refreshing? Because oftentimes, and what I'm trying to get across with this image here is you are craving things like that, but it's actually dehydration, it's thirst coming through. And that's why your body craves something as broad as cold and refreshing and just like broad like that. And if you drink a glass of water, if you are craving something and you're not sure, like, am I hungry or am I just like dehydrated? If you drink a glass of water and give yourself even 5 minutes, you'll notice quickly if you actually are hungry and needing to like add a certain food group into your day, or if it's just a scenario where you were thirsty, because more times than not, we confuse thirst with actual hunger and cravings. So that's what I'm trying to get across with this image here. But the example I put there is like, say you're sitting at home and you're craving like gummy candy. Are you craving gummy candy, or is your body craving sugar? Because if your body's craving sugar, you can get that sugar through a healthier alternative than gummy worms or something. You could eat some watermelon, you could eat some like berries, any type of fruit that would satisfy that sugar craving, but be a healthier alternative than sitting down and eating like a bag of 5-cent candies, right? So that's something that I always think of, and that's something that I personally have learned the last like 4 or 5 months specifically, is really like when I'm having a craving, trying to put it aside and be like, not put it aside, but like take a step back myself and be like, okay, I'm having this craving. Why? Like, what is my body telling me by this craving? What is it that my body actually wants? Is it actually like an ice cream cone that I want, or is it a component of the ice cream cone? Like, is it the sugar of the ice cream, or is it the cold, refreshing feeling of the ice cream? Because often that means your body's craving water, your body's dehydrated.
I'd also love to just like add on to that super quick. I did that while I was pregnant. So even like with pregnancy, for anybody who might be listening who is pregnant, going to be pregnant in the future, um, just know that not all pregnant cravings are like you have to give in to them. That is not to say that I did not have, desires or I didn't eat things that I wanted to eat while I was pregnant. I definitely did. But it was a prime example of really asking myself, do I want this? Am I actually craving this? Or do I just like think that I want it? And exactly what you said. Is it that I want a component of it? Or is it that it just sounds good? Did you see it on TV? Were you triggered by it? Did you drive by it somewhere? Like is your craving an actual craving? Like something that a craving? I think we should like make sure that we all know what a craving is. A craving is something that like your mind cannot stop thinking about. Like you, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to stop thinking about it, to eat something else, you still want it. Like you cannot move forward without having that. It is like it consumes you. Not just oh, I really want some ice cream. That's not a craving. That's just a thought. So definitely give yourself some like opportunity to think through the word craving or the thought of craving something. Like I'm really craving something sweet. Are you, or are you thirsty? Do you just like you just said, it could be the component of whatever food it is. So I just thought I would pop that in there because it's just a prime example. Like everybody thinks, oh well, when you're pregnant, first of all, pregnancy cravings are legit, but we think like, oh well, when we're pregnant we can just eat whatever we want. It's like an excuse to eat whatever we want, and if you happen to be craving something, then just give into it. You're pregnant, it's no big deal. But it's just not the case. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, sorry for the dog barking upstairs if you guys can hear it. But yeah, no, exactly that. And that's like I said, one of the biggest lessons I learned straight up with how to handle cravings when they do come up, because they come up for everybody. Everybody has cravings. And the best lesson I learned is when I'm craving something, I like take a second and I'm like, okay, what am I craving? Why do I think I'm craving this? And could it be another component, or is there a reason I'm craving this thing specifically? And oftentimes that can help you realize that your body wants something else, and that way you satisfy it through other means versus going and eating like a pint of ice cream, which is okay. It's going to happen. I'm pretty sure I ate a pint of ice cream this weekend. It's fine. Like,
I
we're
ate
not saying never
ice
give in
cream
to
between
cravings.
yesterday and the day before.
Yeah, and it's not to never give in to your cravings. It's just a matter of
When?
understanding when exactly that, and understanding why your body feels certain ways as well. So now I'm just going to go into some like common cravings that I have and ways that I found to like substitute through them that are fantastic. Like ones that are actually good, actually satisfying, not ones where you're like, they said it's supposed to be fine and it's okay, I guess. Like, no, it's actually satisfying. It actually like does the job. So I'm going to go into some of these substitutions. So as I said, literally one of the things I crave so often is pizza. So there are a couple of different options. If you guys have an air fryer, it's definitely the best way to do this. I've done it in the oven before though too. Get a portobello mushroom cap and you use that as like the crust of the pizza. So you put in like a spoonful of tomato sauce, sprinkle on a little bit of cheese, whatever veggies, and maybe a little protein if you want, and you bake it or air fry it. It's so good. I like it in the air fryer because I'll actually air fry the mushroom a little bit before I put the toppings on and it gets crispier. So good though. And then that's, if you're following 2B mindset, that's veggies most, because your actual mushroom, like you don't have any carbs in there, right? If you're on UPF, like Portion Fix, That's obviously like a green. I would say if you're eating a full size portobello mushroom cap, that right there is probably one green. And then if you're adding additional toppings on top that are veggies, that could count as probably an extra half a green. Cloud bread pizza. This is kind of fun. Tasha and I discovered this, I don't know, like 2, 3 weeks ago. It's literally, it sounds kind of gross, but it's egg whites, but it's actually so good. You take some egg whites and you literally get like an electronic mixer, like a handheld mixer, and you just mix them kind of like if you're making meringue until it like gets like foamy and peaky. And when it does, you add in like a quarter of a teaspoon of cornstarch, mix it up a little bit, and it gets this really like thick foamy consistency. You like lay it out flat on a baking sheet and bake it for I think 14 or 15 minutes, and it makes like a pizza crust. And then you can actually, well, not pizza crust, that's a lie, it makes like a bread consistency. And then you can put like, you can make pizza out of it, and that like obviously it actually counts as a red because it's just egg whites. So that's a red if you're doing UPF, or it's a protein if you're doing to be mindset. And then of course you take into consideration whatever you're topping it with as well when you bake it again. Cloud bread, side note, super good for like bagel cravings. So Alana Molstein, the girl who made To Be Mindset, she makes all these reels with all these like life hacks about what to, like substitutions if you're craving things, and one of them is like a bagel cloud bread, and she literally just bakes the cloud bread and then she puts cream cheese on top with chives and like everything bagel seasoning. Sounds delicious. I've never tried it, but I've tried the cloud bread pizza and I see how it could 100% be so good. The third one I put in here because I think it's really important. You still need to eat the damn pizza. You can't cut out the pizza. Like, I mean, maybe you could, but I couldn't. I like pizza. So sometimes you need to eat the regular pizza. And if you do, that's okay. It's just a matter of maybe instead of eating 5 slices, half of the large pizza to yourself, you eat maybe 2 slices and do a side salad or a side veggie of some sort to give yourself more volume in your stomach that isn't just pizza, but something on the veggie side.
And also, can I just add a little tiny tidbit to that? I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, if in order for me to have pizza, I also have to have salad. That's not at all what we're saying here. What we're saying is in those times, in certain times, you can have a salad with your pizza. Like you absolutely can. You know, there's going to be times where you just straight up don't want vegetables. That's okay. There's going to be times where you choose the cloud bread instead and you're opting to have no carbs, and that's okay. There's also going to be times where you want pizza, but you really don't need the whole pizza to get full, and you can put in a salad. So I really give you so much encouragement to allow yourself all of the different options. Listen to what your body wants. If it wants just straight up pizza and you're like, I would rather, like, I don't want to eat vegetables right tonight. This is a no vegetable. This is a no care. I'm going to eat however much pizza I want with no care in the world. Go for it. But if you know that it's like a Tuesday and you're just getting pizza because it's on the way, you didn't prep anything else, it's the only thing that sounds good to you right now, you're not in the mood to cook, you just don't want to deal with anything, get a salad too. You know, there's times and places for those things, and I just don't ever want you to think like, oh, well, if I'm eating pizza, in order for it to be a healthy option, I have to eat salad. Not the case. And every time you eat pizza, you have to make it, you know, healthy. That's not the case. So just know that there's always just different opportunities.
For sure. Ice cream. I feel like I have the most like generic cravings ever.
You have the same cravings that I do.
Like all my ice creams are like the typical, or sorry, all my ice creams, oh my God, all my cravings are like the typical, like, what do you crave type of things. So I have some really good substitutions. So ice cream, love, especially in the summer. I swear, like a couple times a week in the summer, I'm like, ice cream.
Oh, every time. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, same as before, and this goes for the rest of the presentation. Sometimes you gotta eat the damn thing, eat the pizza, eat the ice cream, no shame, it's fine. Like life's about balance, and if you're restricting so much that you're not allowing yourself to have any of these true foods as they are, then you're gonna be unhappy in the long run, unless you're someone with like super hyper focused goals. And if you're one of those people, that's awesome, but your girl needs ice cream sometimes. So on the days where you're craving ice cream, but you're like, oh man, I'm like doing really good with my meal plan, I don't really want to go off track or something like that, there are substitutions, and one is Frowo. So this is another thing from To Be Mindset that Alana Molstein makes up. It's so good though. So pretty much it's protein. That's what it is. Because if you look at the ingredients, I threw it in here. You have ice, you have water, you have a scoop of whatever protein powder you're going to use. So Shakeology is great, Beachbody Recover or Recharge are great, any other protein powder you can have. And of course, that's going to change the flavor of it a little bit depending on the flavor of your protein of choice. Quarter teaspoon of stevia. Oh, I spelled stevia wrong. That's awkward. Quarter teaspoon of stevia, just to sweeten it up a little bit. And then a half a teaspoon of an extract. So the example that I saw Alana give is she used a chocolate protein and she used a cake, like a yellow cake extract, and it made like a cupcake flavored froyo. But she's also done ones with like vanilla extract and like vanilla protein. That's like vanilla ice cream. Like you can use like chocolate protein, and like there's so many extracts. There's almond extracts, pistachio, like nut extracts. Options are pretty much unlimited. There's even like mint. Like I think mint with a chocolate protein would probably be good. The really important ingredient here though is xanthan gum. So xanthan gum is an ingredient that actually, when you blend it together, it's gonna make it thick and fluffy and creamy like that frozen ice cream consistency. It's usually found in like the vegan food section of the grocery store because it is something vegans add to a lot of their food to give it the proper consistency. But yeah, it's like a white powder. It usually comes in a little bag and it's like $4. It's super cheap though and super accessible. So yeah, there's a lot of really awesome Frowo recipes. Sometimes Shakeologies are really great too when you're craving ice cream, because if you blend it with enough ice, you can get it really like thick and kind of milkshakey. Yeah, I've already said this a million times, but if you want good like substitution ideas for like cravings, follow Alana Molstein on Instagram because her reels are full of like amazing ideas. Okay, now we're getting into more like what's typically more of like a heavy food, less of dessert food and more like things you would run into day to day, like wings, appies, so like appetizers, deep fried food, like just if you get cravings for that, or say you're doing like a barbecue one night, or say even you're going out to a restaurant. A lot of restaurants have these like substitutions, buffalo cauliflower especially. So these are some great options. This is by no means all of them. These are 3 of my favorites. So buffalo cauliflower is literally to me like a substitution of like chicken wings. Obviously it's different. You're eating cauliflower and not chicken. But if you like make it in the air fryer, it gets crispy and like it has the same consistency. So good. And then you have turnip fries. So instead of eating potatoes as French fries, they're turnips. They're made the same way though. And they're great in the air fryer. And you're literally eating French fries, except they're made of like an actual non-starchy vegetable, unlike the starchy vegetables, which are potatoes. And battered zucchini fingers are also great. There's so many like recipes for things like this or similar, even using other vegetables on the BOD nutrition portal. So those are things that are really great for those like nights if you're getting together with friends, or you're like watching the game with a bunch of people, or you're even just like having friends over for barbecue, or like having a sleepover and you just need finger food. These are all really great options that are usually hits with most people. Chocolate. Sometimes I get really strong cravings for chocolate. And honestly, this is something that was the hardest for me to like kind of find a substitution for, because nothing is gonna fix your chocolate craving. If you're craving milk chocolate, nothing is gonna fix that chocolate craving like a dairy milk chocolate bar. You can have a square of dark chocolate. That works for some people. Some people don't like dark chocolate at all. This is something that I really have enjoyed. You take plain Greek yogurt. I do plain all the time. I've actually gotten really used to it since starting Beachbody. And I mix in a little bit of just plain unsweetened cocoa powder. And you just mix a little bit in. If you're someone who has a little bit of difficulty with bitterness, you can stir in a tiny bit of stevia or a tiny bit of like real maple syrup or even a tiny bit of honey to sweeten it up. And you get what's essentially like a chocolate, I'm going to say chocolate pudding because chocolate yogurt sounds gross, but it's what it is. It's really good though. And sometimes you can take like a couple semi-sweet chocolate chips and like sprinkle them on top. It's really, really awesome. It's a great dessert, especially late at night, because if you make like half a cup or a cup of it, you're just eating a cup of plain Greek yogurt, which is a protein. And that is not a bad snack at all, especially late at night. Okay. Lastly, yeah, I'm all the way down. Okay, so lastly, pretty much before I hand it over to Ray, I just want to talk about like getting creative with your foods. Don't be scared to branch out of what you are used to, because I find so many of us, and I am so guilty for this, I'll make the same 5 recipes over and over and over again, especially recipes that I was like raised with, like recipes that my parents cooked for me when I was growing up. So definitely get creative. And the really, really, really great tools to do this is the BOD nutrition portal. So I put in like little screenshots. Hopefully everyone can see when you're watching this. But this is the first place you're going to see here, this bar, when you log into your beachbodyondemand.com. And to find recipes, you can either go to nutrition here, so that's pathway A, or you can go to the blog, which is pathway B. If you choose pathway A to nutrition, it's going to bring you to a page and you're going to scroll down until you see this, looking for recipes, search recipes. You're going to click that and it brings you to so many recipes that are all UPF or 2B or both. You can search by main ingredient, you can search by food group, you can search by meal, you can search by macro group, like so many options. It's awesome there. If you go to the blog, you'll be brought to this like bar, and in here you will click recipes. There's also nutrition if you want info in there, but if you click recipes, then it's like blog posts which are updated daily with different recipes that come from all over. And really, like, I've been with BOD for over a year now, and I've never gotten bored of the recipes. I have not exhausted them all because there are literally thousands, like thousands. So you can really get creative. And honestly, these two tools, the Beachbody blog as well as the nutrition portal, searching for recipes, are so, 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 so handy for helping you create meal plans before you go grocery shopping, especially when you feel like you're in a funk and you're just like, I don't know what to make. And you're like, I need to search dinner recipes. Filter by dinner and you'll find something like, oh, I would totally like that, but I've never thought to make that before. And then there you go. You've like expanded your horizons on what to cook that night. So yeah, that's all I have here. I'll hand it over to Ray.
I love it. Okay. I love it. Also, I've been with Beachbody for 5.5 years and I still find new recipes all the time. So
they upload them all the time. Like
all the
they never
time.
stop. They're always making more.
All the time. It is fantastic. Okay. So Chantel talked about sugar and cravings and all of that. The only thing that I want to preface my swaps for is these are ways that I eliminated the high sugar content that contributed to a sugar addiction. So what I want to say about that is your body can truly be addicted to sugar to the point where you are constantly actually craving and needing and thinking and wanting only sugary foods. You are constantly wanting to eat breads and pastas and pastries and drinks and juices and fruits, and your body's never asking for vegetables. It's never asking for proteins. It's never asking for healthy fats. It's never asking and wanting those foods. You have to force those things down yourself, but you're happily eating lots of fruit, lots of sugar, lots of carbs, all of that. So if you are somebody who says, I am always eating, I always want to eat fruit. I never want vegetables. I always want fruit. That's usually an indication to me. I am by no means diagnosing you with a sugar addiction. You will have to know that yourself. But that's usually an indication to me from my own personal eating routine. If I'm constantly wanting fruits or carbs and I'm never actually finding my body wanting vegetables, that's an indicator like I gotta cut out the additional sugar that I'm consuming. And so these foods are what I've swapped so that I reduce that excess amount of sugar so that my body's not constantly spiked up on sugar all day long, that I'm actually getting good nutrients. And believe it or not, this is from a vegetable hater. I always want vegetables almost every single day. Even on the days where I eat like garbage, I'm like, oh my God, I need at least vegetables for one meal because my body just knows that it needs those nutrients. It now craves the good nutrients from vegetables and healthy fats and proteins, not just carbs. Okay. So again, these are just regular things in my day that I have personally swapped out to reduce that added sugar and combat that sugar addiction. So the first thing, this is something that I am so extremely, I get very heated about, is the added sugar in drinks. And the reason is this: you are not going to get super full on, especially on nutrients from drinks. It's just not going to happen. Get full and fill your body with hydration and, you know, the things that it needs from water. You really don't need anything else. If you want to drink juice, go and make a smoothie. You know, there's so much nutrients in whole foods. This is what I think now. As often as possible, how can I get a whole food into my body? Not a canned food, not a food that was processed, not a food that was made by a man, not a food that was made in a factory, not a food that is in a container, a whole food. Like food from a tree, from a garden. Where can I get that? How can I get that into my body? Because that is the most amount of nutrients that you are going to consume. That's the best amount of nutrients that you're going to consume. So for me, when I was drinking, I used to drink orange juice, apple juice, milk. I would drink everything except for water. I didn't drink pop. I was never a pop drinker, but I know that there's how many people, if you're thinking to yourself, yup, that's me. Do you drink pop? Pop has literally more grams of sugar in one can than you need or could or should consume in an entire day. In one can. And if you say, well, I drink the diet kind, it's still not good for you. Okay, so find ways that you can swap that out. And I promise you, it's going to suck for the first little while. It sucks to not drink juice. The one time that I ever want juice is when I go out for breakfast. I don't know why. I think it's just habitual. When I grew up and had breakfast, there was always orange juice or apple juice. It was just part of the routine. So every once in a while, I give myself the opportunity to have some apple juice, you know? But as far as my day-to-day goes, I don't buy juice. I used to buy, my favorite was the strawberry, orange, banana juice. And it was so freaking good that I would literally drink the entire container in a day or two. The amount of sugar that is consumed in that much, plus I was eating all of these other things. Okay, this is why I say swap these everyday things out for something that is not as high in sugar, so that you can enjoy the ice cream, the pizza, the hamburgers, the french fries, all of those fun foods that you're not going to consume all the time. The added sugars, so think like your coffee. If you're adding sugar to your coffee, you have to think about that. If you can eliminate that added sugar, at least to some of your drinks, that's so much better than consuming 3 scoops of sugar every single coffee, and you drink 2, 3, 4 coffees a day. That's totally a thing that I know people do. That's a lot of sugar that you're consuming on top of all of the other sugar that you're getting in other places, the natural sugars as well. Wine, oh my God. So I don't know if you guys know this. When you go to the LCBO and you're buying a bottle of wine, there on the label, you can see how many grams of sugar per the bottle. Okay. This is only at the LCBO. I don't know if it's on the bottles or anywhere, on the labels anywhere, at other places that you can buy liquor. But at the LCBO, on the price label, you will see like 27 per 750 or per liter or something like that, which means that there's probably about 23 grams of sugar in that one bottle of wine. And if you're going to girls' night and you are down in that bottle of wine like I am, that's a lot of sugar that you are consuming, one, in one sitting, and two, right before you go to bed. Right? It's just going to spike you. It's going to gut rot you. It's contributing to a hangover. It's contributing to a sugar spike. So now you're going to wake up wanting more sugar, and then it's a constant cycle. So what I do is, because I don't want just bland wine, I get anything less than 5. 5 grams is my max. If it's anything over 5, I don't buy it. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to ask people, oh, how much sugar is in that when I go somewhere, but it allows me knowing, okay, if I have a glass of wine or two every single night or every other night or whatever it is, I'm not consuming this massive amount of sugar in that glass or two, right? And then mixed drinks. If you're somebody who likes mixed drinks, think about what you're mixing it with. If you like to normally drink it with juice or with pop, go for a bubbly, go for a sparkling water, go for something that is no sugar added, and then just make the flavors yourself. I am a huge fan of using like fresh lemon, fresh lime, fresh even oranges, squeezing those in there. I use frozen berries in my mixed drinks. Like, get creative without adding a ton of sugar. And then, I made this note about think about what you're going to be what you're going to be consuming, and plan accordingly. Plan accordingly in your day and what you're eating. So if when I know I'm going to hang out with the girls, or we're going to hang out with the group of friends, and I'm going to be drinking, this is not right now, but normally, when I would be drinking, I knew that I was going absolutely 1000% going to be consuming a lot of sugar, because I would likely be having wine, I'd be having pizza, I'd be having cookies. I would not care. I go out and hang out with my friends and I don't think about what I'm consuming. That is my enjoyable time. I save my days for those times, and we usually hang out with our friends once a week. And so when I am thinking about that during the day, I'm being a little bit more intentional. If I can skip on, that extra piece of toast, or I can opt for a veggie-filled lunch instead of a sandwich, then I'm going to be better off, right? It's just thinking about that intentionally, the amount of sugar that you're having. Okay, flying through these, because snacks can be like, there's a million different things that you can do for snacks, but granola bars, and I'm talking the chewy kind, the chocolate covered kind, those were my jam. I freaking loved those. Popcorn, I used to eat literally the microwaved popcorn. We used to eat it every single night. We bought the Costco size boxes, you guys. Chips, we had chips all the time. Toast, I used to eat toast and cereal for snacks all the time because it's easy, it's fast. And then gummies, like I loved the fruit gummies, or the you know what I'm talking about, those snacks that we used to get. I swapped those for things like whole grain granola bars. So just look at the granola bars. If you still like those and you want to consume them, go for it. Just look at what they are consumed of. Look at what they're made of. Right now I'm eating the cashy ones from Costco, and they're not awful. As far as like nutrients goes and like flavor, they're great. But as far as nutrients goes, um, go for protein snacks instead when and where you can. This is hands down my biggest suggestion is go for protein snacks. What can you grab that has protein in it? Or what can you grab that has healthy fats in it? Snacking on nuts, snacking on, and maybe it's not just nuts, but it's a trail mix. A trail mix is perfect. There's a little bit of chocolate in there, gives you a little bit of that sweetness, but you're also consuming all of these good nutrients in all of the nuts, right? And you're not munching down a bag of M&Ms, but you're getting a couple of little chocolates within them. Fruit dazzled up. This is one of my personal favorite ways to have a snack or have a dessert is I love making chocolate dipped strawberries. I melt some dark chocolate, literally with nothing else in there, dark chocolate, melt it in the microwave, dip my strawberries in there, pop it in the freezer. I either have them later on or I have them the next day. So good. And every once in a while, there's just that craving for something more. And chocolate covered strawberries to me with dark chocolate, and I don't like dark chocolate. I'm not really a chocolate person though. It's just perfect. It's like that, oh, this was so freaking good. So dazzle up your fruit. Another way that I'll do it is melt some peanut butter and I'll drizzle that on my fruit. Like I'll make a bowl of strawberries or berries or whatever it is, apples, and I'll drizzle that on and then crush up some almonds or crush up some chocolate chips or something like that and add that on there. And it just gives you that satisfaction that you might be looking for something sweet and you're just wanting that. Shakeology, Recover, Beach Bars. Oh my God, Beach Bars are like my go-to snack. And energy bites. You can make Shako bites or just protein powder, but energy bites are perfect for snacks. Okay. Oh, this is supposed to be dinner. White bread, white pasta. Swap those out now, right now. Ditch those, okay? And the reason I say that is because it's literally just giving you sugar. It's not giving you any additional nutrients. Is it as good to eat whole grain and sprouted bread as it is to eat white bread? No, never, okay? There is nothing better than a fresh piece of freaking white bread and having it either for breakfast or with sauce. Like there's nothing else better than that, okay? Save that. Save that so that when you do have it, when you go out for dinner or when you go to somebody's house or when they come to your house and they bring this beautiful fresh baguette, you don't have to think to yourself, shit, I just ate 4 slices of white bread already because all I've eaten today is peanut butter and toast and a sandwich, right? Or you're not only providing just white bread sugars into your body. Save those for opportunities that are minimal so that you can enjoy it. Okay, I'm not saying cut it out. I'm not saying never enjoy fresh baguette again. I'm saying to savor it. Okay, in your day-to-day, find options that are sprouted roots, sprouted grains, whole grains, protein-rich and or fiber-rich foods, breads. Those, you can find them on the package. It'll say protein or fiber. Opt for those ones for your regular day-to-day, mundane dinner, lunch options. Go for the vegetable or the lentil noodles. You can get them at the Bulk Barn. You can get them at Costco now. Are they as good as white pasta? No, I'm not saying they are. But when it comes to your every single day, regular eating, like meal planning, don't put in white pasta. Use that for your nights out, your date night, a special night at home, a special pasta night. Save them. Have them minimally, okay? Spaghetti squash is my go-to, along with zucchini noodles. Now, again, I don't eat pasta all the time, but when we do, I am I would say 8 out of 10 times having it with a vegetable base rather than a noodle base. And that's just because we've come to like it, to be honest. And then other things, breakfasts. So I used to do peanut butter with jam with butter or peanut butter and toast just for breakfast, just those. Or like French toast, pancakes, pastries, those were my go-to for breakfast. Swap those with, for example, toast with peanut butter and banana and toasted almonds on top. Add some granola on top. You can have those things. Those things are not wrong. They are not bad. They are full of nutrients. Just make a full meal out of it, okay? And have it with something that is protein. Have it with your eggs. So instead of having 2 pieces of toast with butter on it and some eggs, why don't you have eggs with 1 piece of toast that has peanut butter and banana and a little bit of granola on top? Sprinkle it with some cinnamon and tell me that you are not full, okay? You're giving yourself more nutrients, more flavor, and you're filling your body up with good foods and less sugar. For French toast, pancakes, pastries, things like that, if that's something that you love, like I used to be a bagel girl. I would eat a bagel every single day with either butter or cream cheese every single day, every single day. Instead, have that, but have it as part of your meal, not the whole meal. So if you're a bagel person or you love pastries for breakfast, you love muffins or donuts, have them, but have portion of it with protein and healthy fats and some fruits, okay? Make it a meal. Make it part of your meal. You're not restricted, but you're also going to be so full that you don't want more than just that. Okay. We make French toast and pancakes all the time. Every single Saturday before I had a baby, every single Saturday or Sunday, it used to be pancakes for breakfast. But we would have it with we would have pancakes. I would make them with protein. Fun tip. When you're making your own homemade pancakes with like a pancake mix, you can swap out a portion of the pancake mix for protein powder. So I used to add in my Recover, a scoop worth of my Recover in place of the in place of the pancake mix. And that's protein pancakes right there, okay? You don't have to make the like pancakes with banana and egg. If you eat that, kudos to you, because I've tried it so many times and I can't freaking do it. So I just swap out my pancake powder and I use my Recover. And then add some fruits, yogurt, eggs, do whatever. Bacon is always our go-to, okay? That's all I have for my options. One sec. My options. Just to wrap it up here, you guys, there's so many options out there. Don't have blinders on and not be open-minded to what else is out there, to healthy options, okay? We're not here to tell you that you can't ever eat those foods again. Eat them, but when you do, enjoy them. Enjoy them so much, knowing that the next time that you go to eat, your body's not going to be craving sugar. It's going to be craving good nutrients because that's what you feed it all the time. All right, you guys are amazing. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. Bye, guys.